Welcome back to the Culture of the Few workbook experience. This is chapter 16, Closing the Circuit. And this chapter deals a lot with the relationship between identity and intimacy. And I like to make comparisons between the physical and the spiritual to just help give a better understanding. But we've been working through a lot in the workbook about our identity as sons and daughters of God, and what that looks like to live that out and how that really influences and impacts us. So there's this awareness, there's this truth that we know. And so if I compare this to someone who is raised with like a loving family, they have a mom, they have a dad, they know they're a son or a daughter, but they can still be so busy. They can know they're a son or a daughter, they can know they're loved, but actually not even have a relationship with their dad. Yeah. And I think time is a big factor in that, because you can just ignore.
Yeah, this chapter actually, I think, goes in, there's a thread that goes all the way through the book, from identity even to redefining success. And sometimes we feel like, maybe we have that identity message down, and so now we're free. We don't have to live in performance and try to earn a good relationship with God, and almost get to a place where we neglect growing intentionally in intimacy. And I see that a lot with young leaders who are just excited and they've embraced that message. But I think, as someone who loves and highly champions the idea of knowing our identity, it's possible to become spoiled in that message. It's possible to almost take that and use it as an excuse to be nonchalant in developing closeness with God. And we have to remember, like David in the Bible says, "Hey, you said seek my face." It's not our idea to grow close in a relationship with God. It's the desire of God that we seek Him. It's the desire of God that we grow close to Him. And I remember back when I was in my early 20s, I was pastoring in North Carolina, and I was, trying to do my best, to do my part to change the world. And I had, responsibility Sunday morning and Sunday night. I'm leading worship. I'm doing stuff with the teenagers in our church. I have, at one point in time, about 9 different people I'm meeting with every week for one-on-one discipleship messages or times together. And it's like every time I'm spending time with God or I'm spending time in the Word, I'm doing it to get something for ministry. I'm either studying for a sermon or trying to get vision or getting God's heart for something. And of course, it's not bad to study for a message. It's not bad to spend time praying about vision. But it's like learning how to be in a place where just as a son, I'm coming and spending time with a good Father who loves me. And I had to realize it was actually as I was transitioning away from that ministry and in the middle of a move, I found myself for a few months without really having a ministry to do. And so it was hard to get into time with God, because what I had known for years at that point in time had been spending time with God so I could get something for someone else. Instead of learning to live in a place where I'm just in a relationship with God. So I love how David shares his testimony in Psalms 23. And a part of that is in this verse where he says, "You anoint my head with oil, my cup runs over." And so just recognizing as I learn to be in a place where I bring my cup before the Lord and I just let it be there, that the best way for me to transform the world around me is not to get a little bit and then go pour it out, and then come back and get a little bit more and go pour it out over here. But if I can learn to be in a place where I live in the overflow, I find the place where I meet with Him, and out of a love relationship, He's pouring into me, and I learn to be still. That doesn't mean I'm not doing anything, but it means I'm not leaving that place of relationship to go do ministry. I don't have to go someplace away from God to do that. My life begins to pour over, begins to overflow. So we really want to encourage you as you go through the content of this workbook to discuss with each other, what does it mean to grasp the concept of living in overflow? What does it mean to grasp the concepts of learning to receive love from God from a place of sonship, from a place of knowing who you are? So my encouragement is to pursue identity and pursue intimacy together with that, and trust God for overflow in your life. And so what you'll see is the love of God pouring into you and on those around you, bringing transformation.